So, hello guys and welcome back to PY Coding India Python Masterclass series. And in the today's session, we are going to discuss that what are functions in Python. So, I'm going to tell you now that how we can make a function in Python and what are the various types of functions. But before moving to that, let us first understand that what is actually a function. So guys, if I try to explain it to you in a very simple terms that what is a function. So basically, function is a piece of code that we can use at various places in our program. So for example, if you have written a code which is actually displaying something special, right? And you want that to run at 5 to 8 different places. So you can place that piece of code in a function and you can use that function at different places, which increases the reusability of your code. And also function is actually a backbone of any programming language. Now to explain it to you in a really simple manner, let us take a very simple example. So let us consider our function as an ice cream shop, right? Now, if you go to an ice cream shop, you give the owner some money, right? And owner does the work. Like if you are asked him to bring you a chocolate ice cream, so he will give you the chocolate ice cream, right? So he is actually returning you a chocolate ice cream when you have given some money, right? And when he will do something, so it is actually known as a function. So let me just break all this. So the money actually acts as the input. Whatever we are getting, it's actually called as return. And when we call the owner to do something, it is known as calling a function, right? So our function has basically three simple parts, which are naming a function, then giving any arguments to our function, then our function does whatever the piece of code is present in it, and then it returns it, right? And we have to call a function each time we want to use it. So now let us move to what are types of functions in Python. So there are basically two types of functions in Python. The first one is the inbuilt function, which you are already familiar of. So the print function, input function, the max function, min function, the sort function, etc., etc., are basically the inbuilt functions. In this also, we give it a string or sometimes we give it a number. So these acts as the arguments which are placed in those brackets, right? And it returns the value, which is it prints the value on our monitor, right? So this is the inbuilt function, and user defined functions are which we are going to define. And how to define them, I'm going to show it to you right now. So guys, to explain what is a function, I am going to take two examples right now. So in the first example, we are going to give a name and our function has to print that, hey, then the name of the person. This function is working perfectly fine. And in the second, we are going to give it a number and then it has to square it, it has to cube it, and it has to quadruple it and display it, right? So let us do it. But before moving to that, let me explain to you that what is the basic syntax of declaring a function. So to declare a function, we use the keyword def, which is define in Python, and then our function's name. In here, we give the arguments in which the function has to work on, and here our piece of code is kept. And then whatever value it is going to give us, it returns that value. And when we have to use this function, we just have to call out its name. So functions name, and we also have to give the arguments. So guys, this is the basic syntax of a function. Now let us move to the task that we have to do. So we have to build a function, right? So first of all, let us name our function is display name, where our argument will be the name that a user gives. And to complete this, we have to give a colon sign. And when we do this, it automatically indents it. Now, we should work on the name and it should display it as hey, this function works fine. Right guys? Now let us try to run it. So before running it, first of all, we have to call the function, right? And if you are thinking why we are not using the return, so I have taken these two examples because in some cases we have to return something from a function, but in some cases we don't have to, right? So when you will practice Python by yourself, then you will get to know about this in a much better manner. So what we have to do is we have to take the input from the user. So enter your name and we have to call our function. Now let us just try to run it. So let's suppose the name is Jason. So it is displaying, hey Jason, this function works fine, right? So this is our function. Now let us try to make a function which displays the square and the cube. So guys, let us name our function this time as numbers, where we have to specify a number, right? And our function first of all has to do the square of the number, so which can be done as the using the exponent operator. Similarly, we also have to get a cube, and we can also do something like this, num power as with it itself as the power, and we have to just return these three variables. So square, then cube, and then num power. So this also displays us that our function can return multiple things at once, right? And guys, suppose if you write some code over here and you return something and then you also place some other code as well, so that will not be a part of this function, because once you have used the return keyword, so our function ends over here, which can also be tested by entering over here. See, when I enter, our cursor moves here and not at this place, right? So let us give the num. So the num will be input. And since it is returning three things, so we can store it in x, y, and z. And numbers, num. And then we can just display this as square, cube. So X, Y, and Z, right? So let us just try to run this. So let our number be 10. So as you can see guys, the square is 100, then 1000, and then this large value, right? So guys, this was all about the functions in Python. In the next video, we are going to discuss that what is list comprehensions in Python. So thank you guys for watching.